So we now get underway with our penultimate DD2 and DD2 Masters heat. There is one kart stricken on the dummy grid, and that is Axel Sarniala in the 469 due to start fifth. Let's run you through the starting grid itself. Sarniala will not be able to start from his actual position because everyone else might not be able to be released in time. But it's going to be Carl Gustav Borgard who picked up a very, very close victory this morning in the opening heat. He'll be joined by David Outlechner on the front row. Mads Ries and Martin van Leeuwen rounding out the top two rows. Sarniala, due to start fifth, might be starting from the dummy grid. Maxime Dirix is in sixth position due to start on the outside of row three. Rasmus van der Boe and Leonardo Baccaglini round out the top eight, with Ville Villainen and Nicolas Guillaume rounding out the top 10. Maxime Shurko and Victor Frostbait, row 6, Enzo Boll and Jakob Bezel, row 7. Row 8, it's Patrick Knowles, Lochmelis and Mats Johan Overhoff. Philip Moitzi will be on the inside of row number 9 and joined by DD2 Masters pole sitter Dennis Thum. Nicolas Picot and Lucas Pernod round out the top 20, followed by Manuel Atencha, Jules Cousin, Kilian Gerhard, Sebastian Schul, Peder Bezel, Martina Stankiewicz, Christophe Capitan, Tim Stipitz, Jimmy Chaumier, Igor Mukin, Tony Hogg, and Michael Becker rounding out the 32-strong grid. So red lights are on the starting gantry once again, 10 minutes plus an additional lap set on the timer here at Circuit du Val d'Argenton. And after this, we will have a short break until we get things going outright. A little bit more of a development. There's Jakob Bezel also there too in the 423, due to start on the outside of row number 7. But the field is starting to form up. Now the drivers move forward. And the leaders bring us through into the tram lines. Revs start to rise. Red lights are out. We are underway. And a good stop by Outlechner alongside Carl Gustav Borgard. But someone's off and into the tyre barriers big time. That was Mats Johan Overhoff straight on. And two other drivers also caught up. And there goes Axel Sarniala being released. You can tell by the body language of Mats Johan Overhoff. And two more off. Two more off at the gravel. One of them, Rasmus van der Boe. The other one is the 468. And that's Mads Ries. And Mads Ries out of the cart, trying to pull it out of the gravel unassisted. And that's his second heat of the day done. We've got another cart being pulled over the barriers outside of turn number 1. Unassisted by the driver, who's got it up onto the back bumper, but it's Carl Gustav Borgard that leads the way, but Outlechner pounces up the inside, through into Clubhouse, but he runs wide. Borgard back up the inside to retake the race lead. Outlechner again through into the next left-hander, tries to get through, but Borgard holds his ground. Up and under a tenth, the crisscross trying to be attempted by Martin van Leeuwen. Maxime Dirix now finds himself in 4th position, but there is a hell of a lunge there from Martin van Leeuwen, who drifts wide coming out of turn number 5. Outlechner tries to wrestle with the steering, bumping over the curbs, through into turn number 6, and he can't get through. Lochmelis also getting his elbows out in the meantime. Baccaglini is in the mix here as well. The Italian looks to be in around about 7th or 8th position, as Carl Gustav Borgard has punched his ticket away from the rest of the field and everyone else is squabbling over the scraps. Outlechner alongside Maxime Dirix through into Clubhouse, and Dirix runs very, very wide out of the corner. Loses a bag full of positions. Does the 4:05 from Belgium. And now there is the 4:35, that's Shurko, up the inside of Outlechner. That was for 3rd place. Down the back straightaway they go. More attempts of overtakes being facilitated. Lochmelis, Enzo Boll, and I think Lucas Pernod. 2 more off the circuit. And one of which, I couldn't quite make out the number. It might have been the 5:23 of Igor Mukin. Yellow flags at Dunlop. So that is Igor Mukin representing Cyprus that's off at Dunlop. Erasmus Vendelbo has got the cart going again. Nicolas Picot was actually the driver pulling the cart over the barriers on the entry into Clubhouse. So the 517 is out of the race. Dennis Thun, currently 14th, leads the classification for DD2 Masters. He's got a couple of carts between himself and Martinas Stankiewicz from Lithuania. But Carl Gustav Borgard has got a lead last time around of about 1 second. Enzo Bol up the inside. That was on Patrick Snolls, Lochmelis. And that's Nicolas Guillaume and Leonardo Baccaglini just behind them. So Enzo Bol has got himself up into a genuine, what looks to be, that is 6th place for the young Dutchman. Martin van Leeuwen, in the meantime, has just put in a 51.918, has just taken half a second out of the race leader. But Axel Sarniala, who started from the pit lane, has got himself up into 24th. He's put in the fastest lap of the race so far, 51.866 seconds. Van Leeuwen is getting on with business a lot quicker than he did in the opening race. He did lose a couple of positions, but this time he's going to make sure that Carl Gustav Borgard is going to be put under pressure a lot earlier than we saw in Heat 1 earlier on today before the lunch break. Gap is now 2.5 tenths. It's been cut down by half again in 2 successive laps. Van Leeuwen with the fastest lap of the race, 51.757 seconds. Shurko is also running sub 51.9, 51.885 from the youngster. Like Enzo Bol and the likes of Tom Braken, Shurko has jumped up from juniors to seniors, and I've just been informed that Maxim Shurko has just got a 5-second time penalty for pushing. Oh dear, Nicolas Picot's cart I've just seen in the pit, he's just been bringing it down the pit lane. The left front wheel is not on the cart. However, the gap has been truncated again by nearly half. Martin van Leeuwen is just right behind Carl Gustav Borgard in the 4.37. It was 71 thousandths last time around between the pair when they crossed the start-finish line. And Van Leeuwen is now gearing up for a manoeuvre. Not through turn 7, not through turn 8, but Maxim Shurko has gone quicker than the pair in front. He's right with them. Maxim Drix, in the meantime, has dropped all the way down to 12th position. We've had multiple retirements. Pere Bezel, Igor Mukin, Mads Ries, Mats-Johan Overhoff, Nicolas Picot and Jakob Bezel, all out of the race. We're down to 26 runners and riders. Gap between the top 3 after 7 laps of racing is just over 0.4 of a second. They're going on to the back straight away. Van Leeuwen looks over his right shoulder to see that Shurko is not that far behind. Three and a quarter minutes still to go. Altleichner rounds out the top 4. Enzo Bol in 5th. 6, it's Ville-Villainen, Patrick Snolls, Lochmelis. As Shurko dives up the inside through Dunlop. 4-second position on the road ahead of Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands. That's allowed the gap to expand between Shurko and Carl Gustav Borgard to just over half a second. 3 minutes to go as Martinas Stankiewicz look for a move up the inside of Jules Cousin. Might have got the job done initially. Cousin got straight back through. And Stankiewicz has a battle of his own to contend with because he's got Christophe Capitan right with him. They're just going down the back straight away through into turn number 5. Carl Gustav Borgard might be thanking his lucky stars right now with 2 minutes and 15 to go. After Maxim Shurko went up the inside of Martin van Leeuwen just a lap ago through Dunlop. Outlechner is having to fight now with Enzo Boll, who's within 2/10 of him. This is the battle for fourth on the road, which could invariably be third place based on the fact that Maxim Shurko has got a 5-second time penalty post-race for pushing. Axel Sarniola started from the pit lane, now is past Sebastian Schul for 19th position. Enzo Boll closing in once again, and now he goes for the move up the inside of David Outlechner. Shuts the door very, very quickly, so the 465 has no opportunity to counter-attack straight away. The top three line astern coming across the line after lap number 10. As Carl Gustav Borgard is defending significantly, but is doing it within what is required of him, staying on the racing line, not giving the two behind an opportunity to get through. And Maxim Shurko is the only driver that's dipped underneath the 51.7 second barrier. Youngster representing Lithuania now looks for the inside move into turn 7. Slight touch between him and Carl Gustav Borgard, but the 437 from Denmark holds on to the race lead. And there's a 5-second time penalty coming the way of the 523 for Igor Mukin for causing a collision, I would imagine, but he's out of the race. So lap 12 out of 13 underway here at Val d'Argenton. And Carl Gustav Borgard is just not that far away from potentially taking a second successive victory. But he runs wide coming out of turn number 6, nearly opened the door for Maxim Shurko and Martin van Leeuwen to get through. Through turn 8. Now into Piff Paff at the chicane. There's going to be just under 1.3 kilometres to go as the last lap board will come out this time. Shurko looking up the inside on Carl Gustav Borgard. Opens the door for Martin van Leeuwen. And Borgard gets dumped down to third immediately. We're on to the final lap of this race. And Maxim Shurko might win it on the road, but he'll get a 5-second time penalty post-race, dumping him out of the top 10. They're going down the back straightaway for the final time. And Maxim Shurko got the run of momentum coming out of turn 11 at Dunlop. And the run down to the final corner. The opportunity presented itself and he took full advantage of it. One more corner remains after this. That was Enzo Boll looking up the inside of Carl Gustav Borgard. Shurko will win it on the road, but it will be provisionally that Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands will take heat number 2 for DD2, and it will be by 0.8 of a second ahead of Carl Gustav Borgard. Enzo Boll provisionally takes 4th at the moment before any time penalties are taken into consideration. David Outlechner, 5th. Ville Villainen, Patrick Snolls, Loch Mellis, Nicolas Guillaume, great running at the top 8 at this moment. Great run by Lucas Bernot from Canada, from 20th to 9th, which will very shortly become 8th. Victor Frostbay, Leonardo Baccaglini, Maxime Didix, Kylian Gerhard round out the top 13. Dennis Thum will take his first heat win of the day, finishing in 14th overall ahead of Manuel Tenchat. Martinez Stankiewicz finishes 2nd DD2 Masters, takes 16th ahead of Jules Cousin. Christophe Capitan, Axel Sarniola from the pit lane to 19th ahead of Michael Becker, who rounds out the top 20. Tim Stipitz, Jimmy Chaumier, Philip Moitzi, Tony Hogg and Rasmus van der Boot were the last of the classified finishers after 13 laps. Peter Bezel and Igor Mukin coming together on the run to turn 5 on lap 3, retired on the spot. And on lap 1, we had Mads Ries out, Mats Johan Overhoff out by the first corner, along with Nicolas Picot and Jakob Bezel.